Hey everybody, welcome back to the shop. I guess it's thumbs up on the mini series. You guys rock. Okay, what I got going here is okay, here's the deal. There was two different people working on this air system, okay? The man who originally installed it and John. Okay, and I'm not knocking either one. Okay, the system worked, and it basically all the stuff came up here. It could have been tidied up just fine, but I had to replace these air cylinders. These air cylinders leaked, okay? And I think when John cut one and it was short, by the time they had it all zip tied in, it wasn't enough to cut a little off, because you got to cut that stuff. These air cylinders are so fragile that if you just start pulling on that, it's going to break that solder joint. And you know, these things are pretty pricey. So what I do, I'll show you how I take them apart. You always got to cut these lines. Plus, it gives you a new line to put on there. But I get in here with these dikes and grab that hose right there and just see where I got a little bit of it pinched. Okay, pop that. Grab that little nub then. Grab that little nub right there and pull it right off without damaging that little air cylinder. Okay, these things leaked anyway. I think what happened, maybe when they drilled them out. No, I don't know, but John said the front ones leaked. So he got some good ones. I got them installed, but anyway, a couple of them lines ended up being short, and I just didn't like one thing. These air cylinders come from that side of the fuselage, or these air lines right here. I figured out these are my gear up, gear down. Okay, got to tape aside. I'm working on the air cylinders. These two are my back air cylinders, okay, for the main gear doors. And they had it crossing the fuselage. And these hoses coming over here. And anytime you want to neaten something up, if you can keep from crossing that fuselage, you got to do it. So I went ahead and just stripped all them off. And I got to get it to where I understand it. You know, there's nothing worse than being lost. And you know, when you're working on something. So I'm just going to get it. I'm not knocking neither one of them guys' plumbing job. Okay, I'm just going to get it to where I understand it a little better, and keep this tooth from crossing over. See, because I want all this to be real clean, real neat back here. I'm going to put stuff back there. I don't want hardly any of this stuff even to be visible. A lot of this stuff I'm going to redirect. And another thing I like to do, they've already got it done. I don't really want to do it. But I would have ran all my extensions cords on the bottom side of this duct. And then put me a tube in right here. It's not that they did a bad job. Just the fact that it's visible. And I could have got, if you just ran these wires on the bottom side, you don't have this. And but all that's done, I ain't going to mess with it. But I am going to get all this up in here real clean, real neat. Another thing I like to do is I'll come down here. You see where this wood is? There's going to be a shelf there. Well, I'll make me another shelf about that far below. About a ½ inch below this shelf. And what I'll do is I'll permanently mount this, attach all my air lines, and it'll be recessed, and then my actual wood, I'll just trim a hole to where it slips right over the top of this. So anytime I need to get this wood off, see, when you bolt this stuff on top of that wood, anytime you want to take that wood off, you got all them air lines to deal with, man. extension cords. So I like to mount this stuff underneath my board, but have it sticking through. So anytime you need to take that board off, man, bam, and you're inside there without disconnecting nothing. I'll show you guys how to do that too. You know, it's all in simplifying this stuff and getting rid of that wad. You know, there's a lot of stuff in these airplanes, people. A lot. It's got lights. See these lights? It's got a pretty good light set up. But it's got a lot of lights. This thing's got lights all over it. It's got them here on the fuselage and the tail. And it's got a big old wad of batteries. But I ain't going to put that, that's why we ain't going to put that afterburner in. It's got enough bells and whistles. But I want to go ahead and run this stuff to where I can understand it. That's my only reason for switching it around. I had to take it down that far to replace them air cylinders anyway. You know, I'm going to watch, and then I'll take this stuff, these airlines, and I'll route them underneath, like underneath this board. And, you know, they had them on top. Well, shoot, out of sight, out of mind. Get them out of the way. I want to be able to put batteries in and out here without running into all the, you know, hoses. And same way back here, I don't want to see, you know, that'll be routed underneath, come up where the receiver is. Out of sight, out of mind. Makes everything look real clean, real neat. You know, I like my planes looking like they're missing a few parts compared to other people. Now also, I'm going to build a shelf right here, and that's where I'm going to put my ECU. I'll put my solenoids on the bottom of that board back here in these corners. Out of sight, out of mind. You won't even know they're there if you can't see them. And probably the fuel pump up here beside the ECU. And keep them all back here by the engine real clean, real neat. That's why we'll just need a couple of extension cords coming up here. You know? Bam! That's where I am so far. I'm just cutting hoses and pulling stuff off and cleaning up. I gotta reuse all these. Tees. We'll just get a corner of that and stuff, and then it'll come right off. So you don't want to just grab them and pull. Then we'll have to call Monica, Camlax, and order more, and be a couple days getting here. And no, I need this thing out the shop. I'm all excited. Oh, someone asked why I showed that gear upside down in that wing. It's because that's the only gear I have. Paul had to take the other two home with him. He had just a little bit of work to do to him. But that gear there is for the other wing. But I'm ready to get me one of them laid up. I got all my elevator stuff done. I can just focus on laying up parts for a while. Adding parts to the jet. It's all going to have that foam in it too, man. My vertical stab, my rudders, my ailerons, my flaps.
When I first saw the tape, and that being a police officer for 43 years, I really realized that it got to a point where I believed that the force was unnecessary.
The four officers would get their day in court, but before they did, public opinion seemed to have found
there's that foam.
In LA, blacks and Hispanics complained that such brutality was routine. An example, they said, of the racism that
That's old Mr. John. Sorry, John, I'll call you right back.
Rodney King was wheeled before the press to show off his injuries.
Play you back in 34 seconds. As soon as this video's up. Probably wondering if I'm done yet. He knows over here this thing will be ready to fly. Okay. I'll have all these air hoses cleaned up this afternoon, replaced, and build me a couple boards. I always got to build my own boards. I don't like the way theirs is set up. And paint